My friends, when you are thinking about tuition, if you are struggling to make the revenue or profit of your dreams and really not sure how to move forward, increasing your tuition rate actually just might not be enough. When we're looking at the financials and the overall tuition strategy, we need to look at the whole picture. And this is where we have to make some decisions based on data on whether or not which tuition structure will be the best for you to yield the results that you want. So, in this week's episode, that's exactly what we are going to dive right into. We are going to dive into top pricing structures that actually work and what not to do when it comes to your overall pricing plan. Now, if you're joining me, say hello. Let me know that you're here. I always want to know who's with me. Good morning to you as well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to know who's with me and how it's going for y'all. So let me know in the comments below if you are joining us. Now, if you stumbled upon this somehow, hello, how are you? If you stumble upon this somehow, I'm Erin Bird, and I support dance studio owners and educators to really grow their businesses without all the burnout or the overwhelm or sacrificing your personal life, because you really don't have to. And if you're joining us on the replay, we want to know that as well. So just drop a hashtag replay below and we'll come back in and continue the conversation. So now I want to know right now, my friends, how often are you looking at your tuition structure and revamping it, revisiting it, raising your rates? How often are you doing that? Let me know below. I always want to know kind of where you've been at, how long you've been at the same rates, and also what made you decide this tuition structure that you chose out the gate? Was it because that's just what everybody does in your community? Is that what the previous owner used to do? How did you come up with your tuition strategy as far as pricing goes? Let me know. Also, remember, we love to learn out loud here. So, out loud means getting in those comments and it helps you anchor in the ideas. And also, when you have those nuggets, it helps others who come back in on the replay as well. Okay, so some of the comments are yearly, except for during pandemic closures, obviously. Big, yes, big restructure this year. I do. So excited. So excited about it. So, how often are we actually looking and diving into our tuition pricing and our tuition structures? Um, yes, at very minimum, we should be doing it yearly and looking at that and seeing what that looks like for us for the next season ahead. But I have some clients who we've actually done more than one pricing switch in a calendar year. So it just depends on timing and kind of what's happening and what makes the most sense for you and your community and your particular programming. But how many times are you looking at that? Because we definitely should be looking at this every single year. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the topic of today, right? And I want to start with a few things that we should not be doing when it comes to our pricing structure and our tuition rates, right? The first thing is stop basing your price on someone else's. So many times I see a couple things. Number one, inside of these wonderful, amazing Facebook groups that we have in our industry, I see so many posts of people asking, like, how much do you charge for XYZ? How much do you charge for tuition? Da, 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 da. And, there's going to be a lot of comments about either A, what they charge and where they're located, and or B, there are always those prices or comments where people say, hey, obviously pricing should be location dependent because, what someone charges in Los Angeles is going to be different than somebody who is in, a rural community in Idaho, right? So people do comment on that and the fact that pricing is going to be all over the place based upon region and your demographics that you serve. And so it's not a pricing strategy to ask what somebody else charges and then kind of base your rates off of that. Also, Do not base your prices on what your competitors charge in your community. You don't know what their overhead expenses are. You don't know, their carrying costs, you don't know all of their financials. So you cannot base your pricing on their pricing, right? Solely on their pricing. So please, my friends, stop basing your pricing on somebody else's. That is not a great strategy. Something we need to do is we need to actually do the math. So when we are coming up with our pricing structure and strategy, we need to look at what are our costs, our hard costs. What is the percentage of profit that we want to make? What's our profit margin that we desire? And we have to do the math, but you have to know your numbers. That is going to lead you to what your tuition rates should be. Let me know, how many of you do your pricing based upon what percentage of profit that you want to make? And then work backwards and reverse engineer and kind of pull apart the layers. So okay, these are my hard costs. For group classes, cost per student. These are my costs per class ran, right? Are you guys getting into the math of that? Let me know. Okay. Oh, if you only knew the formula. Okay. So in our industry, if you can shoot for a 35% profit margin, if you have a brick and mortar studio, that, my friends, is for a lot of people really great profit margin where you feel good, you're making some money, and you're taking care of all your costs and you're saving money, my friends. So that's important. So if you are not running currently at a 35% plus profit margin, then we need to look at the math, okay? All right, so the next thing that I'm going to tell you not to do is stop with all the discounts. When I dive into people's pricing structures, the first thing that we look at is all of the discounts that people give. My goodness, I understand that, for those dancers, especially let's say competitive dancers who you require them to take multiple classes, they're in the studio a lot, you feel like, oh, I should give them a break because they're here so much. And, if I don't, then parents won't sign up for it. But that's not really a fact, that's a feeling. And remember, as parents, we get to choose. We get to choose what opportunities we give to our children. We get to choose we get to decide if it's in our budget or not. It's not up to you to decide their budget, right? Stop with all the discounts. You don't need multi-class discounts. You don't need sibling discounts. You don't need, I know your brother's uncle, sister from 20 years ago discounts. Like all of the discounts that I see when I'm working with studio owners on their tuition structures and strategies, it is crazy. And it's not necessary. It's not necessary. You don't go out to the store and look at steaks and say, well, I'm buying this one, so if I buy one or two more, I want a discount. It doesn't work that way, right? So stop with all the discounts. Do we want to share? How many of you have multi-class discounts? Let me know. No shame. We can fix it. But just know that you don't have to do that. And just because you've done something for a long time doesn't mean you cannot change it. Now, there's strategy and approach to it, so you don't, right? Stop them this year. Yes, thank you. Okay, you don't have to do all of those. Fear tells us a lot of times what it is. Hey, Julie, how are you? I'm so glad that you joined us today. So stop with all the discounts, right? They're not necessary. And just because you've had them forever doesn't mean that you have to continue keeping them. All right. So, do you want to dive into the strategies that we are seeing that are working the best right now in our industry and the ones that we need to stick away from? Let me know in the chat below. I want to know. So, I have to tell you that what type of pricing structure do you have? Do you have they're in the studio for 30 minutes, so it's $30. Are you trading time for dollars when it comes to your tuition structure? I'm not a fan of that. And the reason I'm not a fan of that is because people start to equate and it changes the perception of your value. And when you have 3 classes one month and 5 another, or 2, and it just starts to say, okay, we're going to get to that. Perfect. So I'm not a fan of the basing your tuition rates based upon how much time they're in the studio. So you'll have a different tuition rate for a 30-minute class versus a 45-minute class. Or, when a parent's trying to decide what classes to put their child in, they're like, okay, this class is 45 minutes, this class is 30 minutes, this class is an hour and a half, and they're trying to add up all the time to figure out what the cost of their tuition is going to be. It's confusing. And it changes the perception of value. Why is this tumbling class more expensive than the ballet class? Aren't they both the same quality? I don't know, right? So if we are doing a trading time for dollars when it comes to our tuition, that is not the best strategy in my opinion. Now, yes, now we're going to talk about that. So I do prefer, there's 2 models that I really prefer when it comes to rolling out tuition structures and pricing strategy for our clients in the studio industry. So the first one is the per class model, and not by minute, per class. And of course, there's going to be a cutoff, and there's going to be some things that we have to look at, because you can't charge the same rate necessarily for a 45-minute class that you are for an hour and a half class. But we have to look at things strategically. We have to look at what is the value of that room. This is where the math comes in. What is the opportunity for that time slot? And then we have to look at that when it comes to creating our per class model pricing. So, and per class pricing is really easy for parents, because they're like, oh, one class is $60, 2 classes is $120, 3 classes is $180. Like, it's very simple for them to know what the tuition cost is going to be. When it's this 45-minute class is $45, and then the 30-minute class is $30, and then there's an hour and a half class, so that should be $90, and trying to add it up, it's confusing. Now, I know it's just math, but we want things to be an easy yes from our families and our parents. So, per class model is one of my favorite ways of pricing things, so it's simple and easy for parents to understand. All right. Now, before I get to the next one, my friends, if you feel like you need a pricing overhaul, if you're not making the profit that you desire, if you are looking at inflation is here, price costs are up, my insurance is going up, everything is going up, and you know that you need to make a shift, but you want a little bit of support with that and how we roll out our pricing structure strategy, right? Then I want to invite you to sign up for a Studio Success strategy session, and we can chat about what your goals are and a plan to get you there. So you just need to go online to erinbird.com/apply. I'll drop it in here later, and we can talk about how we fix the financials, how we move forward in a way that feels good and aligned with you, but also fixes the math problem. Because so many times they're like, oh, I don't know a formula, I don't know, math isn't my thing, or, I don't really know how to do this, or how am I going to do this without scaring people away? And those are all things that we tackle when I work with my clients. But I love to help give some guidance. And so this is your opportunity to do that. If you want to schedule one of those, you can go to erinbird.com/apply, or just drop a little note here that says raising your hand strategy session, and I will send you a message and we'll get that set up. All right. The next structure, my friends, that I am seeing really great results with, and that we are seeing takes away the guesswork, and parents are really loving it because it's really all inclusive. It's all inclusive model. And this is a membership model. Now, the membership model, think of like the gym, right? When you go to sign up for the gym and they're like, okay, you can pay X amount monthly and you could get basic use of the gym, all the facilities, da da da. The second tier is you get everything in that basic. The next tier, you can have all the fitness classes, right? And plus access to the gym. And then the third tier, maybe the premier tier, is you get everything. You get all the classes, all the equipment, all this the pool. You can swim laps. You can use the sauna. You could do tanning. I don't know. There's all sorts of options, right, that are included in that top tier, and you pay a premium for it. Well, this is something that we can do inside of our dance studios as well. And what it does for parents is it gives them options. And we are seeing that they really enjoy the idea of, oh, I could just pay this one fee. It's consistent, it's constant, and it includes everything that we need. It includes costumes, it includes recital, it includes, dance wear, it includes, so you can set up your three-tiered pricing to give parents options, right? So tier number one, the lowest level, maybe it is just the regular tuition and they don't get the registration fee or the all those other things involved. And then the second tier of this membership is where you maybe add a few things in there, right? So it's tuition plus it's their uniform. And right. And then the third tier is like all inclusive pricing. Here's everything. You get this. And it's no brainer for them. It's a no brainer. And parents really love that. Okay, what's it going to be? Because sometimes inside of our studios, one of the other big problems that I see is parents feel nickel and dimed. They feel like every single time they turn around, it's like, oh, well, now we need a, oh, recital fees due. Oh, costume fees due. Oh, tickets are going on sale. Oh, and it feels like it's never ending. And so if you want to create something that's an all-inclusive package, makes it super easy for families, y'all, it is working really well. Yes, that's what you're moving to, and it's such a great way to set yourself apart from the other studios around you. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great way to shift things and show all the immense value that you're giving. Because here's the thing, there are going to be people in your community, there's going to be competitors who are charging less, right? And you might feel like, oh, at face value, it might look like they're charging less. Maybe they're charging a little bit less in their tuition, but they're making it up in their registration fee or in their recital fee or in their comp fees or wherever they might be charging more. So maybe at face value, parents are like, oh, well, this is a little bit less. But then when you're looking at yours, you're like, well, ours is all inclusive. So yes, it seems like it's a little bit more, but it includes everything. And you don't have to worry about things popping up throughout the year. It's actually already all covered in this membership plan. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing, my friends. And it allows clarity for parents to make it easy, yes, when it comes to your tuition, to signing up. It makes it an easy yes because it's right in front of them. They know what they're getting, they know what's included. And now I know some of you might be saying, well, Erin, we tell them in the beginning that there's going to be a recital fee and there's going to be that and there's going to da, 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 da. And they know that. We've told them they should expect it. Well, Well, yes, that's true. And I'm sure everyone is sharing that information at registration when they're signing up. That doesn't mean that parents are busy and they don't forget, right? And so even though they might know it, they still might feel, okay, yeah, I gotta write that check for that recital fee. Or, oh yeah, costumes are due, right? And the other thing I have to say is we need to look at uh, our payment plans. This wasn't on here, but it's something that just popped in my head. I know that so many times we offer payment plans when it comes to spreading out the cost of competition fees or spreading out the cost of costumes or those sort of things. And it could actually be counterproductive in the fact that if you're going to do it as a separate charge, that people feel like, well, I just paid for costumes. No, you paid a deposit. Now you have to pay the remainder. You're actually causing, again, the perception of the nickel and dime situation. And so we want it to be an easy yes when it comes to our tuition structure. We want it to be crystal clear on what is included and how it's easy for them to understand. And when you do that, they actually will sign up for more. But if they're trying to do all this math in their head, they're trying to figure out if it's going to work, they don't know how much costumes are really going to cost them, because a lot of times we're like, oh, it's going to be anywhere from, X to X for costumes because you don't necessarily know how to price or set yourself self up beforehand. So there's questions there for parents. And while parents might be committed to their child's extracurricular activities and to dance, um, they don't like to feel surprised all the time. So if you are thinking about your tuition, which you should right now for fall, if not summer, but you should be thinking about what are we doing for our tuition next year? No matter what, there should be an increase. And but until we get into the math, we don't know what that increase should be. And we don't know if your structure is actually the right structure for you and your studio that aligns with your values, that aligns with your audience and your ideal clients. So sometimes just raising those tuition rates a few dollars is not enough. We have to actually overhaul and look at what we're doing and look at the whole picture for you to know what's the next best step. Okay, so let me know in the comments below. Did something pique your interest today as far as moving from a membership model into a membership model, moving away from trading time for dollars, looking at what are really the options for our tuition structure as we move into the new season? Right now is the time to make those decisions so you can have a smooth and easy rollout. And it could be a rollout that doesn't have to be anxiety driven. It could be one of excitement for your families. And if you need a little extra support, again, my friends, we are here to support you. So you can go on, schedule that studio success strategy session, and we can see what the next best steps are for you and your specific studio based upon your specific goals. So let's do a little just fast recap. I always love to do these like speedy recaps for you guys. So if you came in late, that is okay. We're going to do like maybe 60 seconds. I don't know. Quick little recap of today when it comes to talking about tuition, pricing structures and strategies that actually work, and what not to do when we're thinking about our tuition, right? The first thing is stop basing your pricing on someone else. That is not a strategy. That is looking at everybody else and kind of guessing at what to do, because we need to do the math. The math is what is going to move you ahead. And if you don't feel like math is your jam, that's okay. There are people out there to support you. Bookkeeper, CPA, me, I'm here to help you. The third thing is stop with all the discounts. You have to stop with the discounts, my friends. It is not serving you well. And when you look at the math and when you look at the numbers and see how much revenue you're losing, you will want to change that really quickly. The next thing is, okay, let's move away from trading time for dollars model. That is not a great platform. That is not a great model because it shifts the perception of your value. So instead, the top two structures that I really enjoy are the per class model. That makes it super easy for parents to know, oh, one class, two class, three class moving forward. And then the last one is a membership model that has all inclusive options for our parents. Those are going to be the easy yeses that come from parents when they come in, they try their studio, they're looking for a new home for their child when it comes to their dance education. We want pricing and tuition structures that are easy for them to understand and which makes it easy for them to say yes. So I'm going to leave you there. I hope that you guys all got a few little nuggets today. Let me know in the comments below. If you're coming back in on the replay, we want to know that as well. We'll come back in and continue the conversation. I hope that you all have a fantastic week, and we will see you again we come on every single Wednesday, this time to share business strategy, mindset, and tips and tricks to make your life a little bit easier and hopefully bring you a little bit of joy. I'm going to leave you all there. I hope you have a fantastic week, my friends, and I will see you all